Okay, well, good morning and welcome to Coffee with Paul and Joe. I just finished mine, but there's a couple more sips in there.
There you
Hmm.
go. Get that
Morning,
coffee
Paul. Morning,
done.
Paul. How you doing today?
I'm warm now.
I see you got your little cloak on. You look like a lion prince or lion king about to emerge.
Yes. Rising to your king, baby. Rising to your
That's right. Uh-huh.
Good to see you.
Rising to your king. That's right. So today we're talking about performance. And I'm not talking about just like physical performance, and I'm not talking about, being a comedian on stage or musician. We're talking about human beings and how we have a tendency to perform, right? Now,
Mm.
performance can be a great thing, right? Like I want to be able to perform really well when I'm with my coaching clients. But we want to talk about performance and how it can get in our way, how we think we always have to be perfect, how we feel like we always have to be on, and what do we lose when we're trying to show our very best self at all times. Right? It's paradox here because I think a lot of us are hiding and we're playing small and we're not showing our best selves, which is a version of our performance. I'm supposed to perform small to be safe. But then a lot of us are trying to always show our Barbie and Ken perfect, version of life, if you will. And we're trying to look perfect and dress perfect and act perfect and pretend like nothing's really wrong.
Mm.
And then there's this kind of third realm where there's people like us. We've done a lot of work to become more whole and more connected and more spiritually guided and more well within our emotions and our bodies. And there's these ideas of authenticity and spirituality and having the positive mindset. And there becomes a new performance where you almost have to perform as if I'm the most vulnerable and authentic at all times, when sometimes I don't even have access to these parts, right?
Mm.
So we want to break down performance today, and everybody gets trapped and caught in performance, underperformance and overperformance. And so we're just gonna chat about that and see what comes up here and see what we can give you that's valuable. You know,
Chatting.
yeah.
I love that. Chats.
What happens for me? My initial feeling is one of the things that feels scary is I'm still nursing this injury. I've been able to get a little more movement in, but not much.
How
And so
long's that
for
been?
me,
Like 2 weeks?
it's been bad for about a week and a half.
Okay.
It's kind of something I injured a few weeks ago, but it didn't flare up until about a week and a half ago.
Okay.
But anyway, so I get really concerned about my mental and emotional performance when I'm not doing my physical embodiment, when I'm not doing my movement. I feel slower. My
Mm.
processing is slower, and my mood is somewhat depressed, flattened. And
Mm.
so I really fear what it's like to be with my clients and to be on this video screen with you right now and to be with family or anywhere where I can get triggered more easily, right? Like I fear I can't perform as this like ultimate calm, cool, sharp, thoughtful, mindful, conscious guy when I'm not exercising. So that's what comes up for me. And that's
Is
in
that
this moment I feel the fear, in this
okay?
moment I feel it.
I was gonna say that is that when you as you were talking about that or as you were saying that I just saw myself in a space naked, like
Mm-hmm.
bare, vulnerable.
Yes.
Um, especially which really fascinating what you said. Well, being in a space where I have to be on, quote unquote, on.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell that means. Like I'm on right now. I'm breathing. So like what
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. I this becomes real, and I wonder, Joe, if it's because of just our environment right now. Because when you look when I look at Facebook or I look at social
Mm-hmm.
media or I look at like right now it's like on my docket this week I'm doing a video on covering for LinkedIn. And it's really more actually thinking about it, it's about this topic of always being as part of it is about covering and being on all the time and what that even means.
Right.
And there's a sense that when we see something on a social media, that's real. And that's a snapshot. That's a
Right.
moment in time of a collection of other moments that may have been not at that same level of happiness
Mm-hmm.
or whatever is presented. This is the thing I sense with performance. People start getting into this like, well, I got to be this, or I got to hustle, I gotta look
Mm-hmm.
this way, or I have to be this way to get business and to get that.
Right.
And for people watching, Joe and I were talking about this before. It's like, is that real? Is that? And you posed such a brilliant question that you post on Facebook. Can you say that question again?
Yeah, I think it was the one about, what do we lose
Yeah.
when we're always orienting towards doing it right, or we're trying to avoid looking like we're doing something wrong or making mistakes, right? Or not knowing, right?
Mm.
Actually, let me actually check my note. I probably have it right here on the notepad in more eloquent form.
That sounded pretty good.
Yeah. Here's what I wrote down. And I wrote this down actually during a client session. And I just thought to myself, this is what needs to be brought up more in the world. What do you lose when you're focused on trying not to look bad or avoiding looking like you don't know? That's it. That's it. When you're trying to avoid looking bad. So always posturing to look good.
For me, I lose growth.
Right.
I'm stuck. Because when I am in fear of, shoot, I gotta look good. Because this is, you and I have known each other for some time. We've had conversations about this offline. Sure. About just like, wow, me wearing masks, people pleasing, yes man, all these things. There's a conditioning I'm breaking out of that has me thinking, oh, well, I have to say this or else I'm not going to get this. I have to say this or I'm not going to be accepted. I have to say this or I'm not going to be safe.
Right.
I have to say this. So there are those pieces where there's a vulnerability to receiving the loss and whatever that is. Like when you read that question, what is it for you?
Well, so, I think that I don't do this in general, but I find places where like deep down under 3 layers underneath the surface, I'm still doing it. You know what I mean? Like that's,
yes.
I think about my clients who I ask these types of questions. I think about the person who I'm working with where this came up in the session. And it's like every part of life is oriented towards looking like they got it going on, looking like they got it all together.
Right.
And we were talking about their professional life, and he's very high up there. But meanwhile, he's always worried about like, what do his salespeople think? What do his support staff think?
Right.
How do they see him? Rather than going, how am I most effective here? How am I most powerful here? How do I do the best work for the company here? So he's like, this is keeping him in this situation from performing really well, actually, was the irony. For me, what comes up is there's moments of deeper connection with others that I lose. This is primary for me because I went through this big life shift, 2012, 2014. So many parts of my world changed, inner and outer. Right. And ever since then, I recognize that I've gotten so good at telling that story and showing up as like the transformed man that I, in personal relationships, sometimes don't necessarily share as much, like if I'm feeling vulnerable or if I'm worried or if I'm feeling negative or if I'm feeling down. Right. I'm almost relearning to do that in the last year and a half or so, is to be real, is to go, okay, I am worried, I am afraid, right? Because for a while I thought to really do my best, to be my best, to be liked, to be loved, like there's this huge skill I have, which is seeing the positive in things, seeing the silver lining, taking on and understanding the growth opportunity in everything.
Right.
So I've become, it's this place where like I hide certain parts of me that aren't fully positive, that aren't feeling enlightened,
With you, brother. With you, man. Yep.
And so I know that with friends that are close, at times when I've shared, hey, sometimes I've started to open up around this stuff. They'll tell me, yeah, sometimes I feel disconnection when I can tell that you're upset about something, but you immediately go to how it's going to help you grow. You immediately go to like, what's the positive opportunity that's showing up here?
Right.
So
yes,
it's tricky, right? Because I don't want to perform complaining.
Right.
I don't want to perform what I think is a true underfunctioning in society of seeing the potential in situations and
Right.
learning to transform challenges.
Mm,
I don't
mm,
want to pretend like I'm that where I'm like everyone else, because it's not like I want to just sit at this base where most people's consciousness and mindset are around challenge and opportunity, because we live in a complaint culture.
right.
But I also don't want to be in this place where I'm like, yo, I'm at this high stratus where nothing can affect me, nothing can hurt me, because that's
Mm,
not true.
right. See, this brings up, oh man,
So
oh man.
connection, long
Yeah.
answer is I lose connection with others.
Right.
And I probably lose insight for myself because I don't sit with discomfort long enough at times. I always want to
Mm.
go into my transformational practices of some sort and be like, all right, how do I move through this quickly?
So is there discomfort in the connection?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Because the reason why I ask is because that's what's come up for me recently. For me, is because I've gotten feedback um recently and not so long ago, like that. Not so long ago, I was like, I'm not okay, whatever. And recently, I'm like, okay, I get to listen to this. There's something here. Where when I do that, I'll call a spiritual bypass when something bad happens. Like, I'm going to learn something from this.
Yes, right.
This is going to be a gold gem nugget. There's going to be a leprechaun that's going to pop out of my box of Lucky Charms
Mm-hmm.
in just a second. And what I found was that other people around me would have this impression like I got it all together, and that wasn't the
Right.
case. Like, I'd be struggling, and they felt like they couldn't connect with me, or I noticed that, well,
Yeah.
oh man, I felt pressure when you were here, and I was like, oh shoot, they're not seeing me as me. They're seeing me as like, oh wait, I gotta perform.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
I gotta
Yes.
perform now. And the thing I get to be aware of now is, you know what? I can say I'm fucking pissed off
Mm-hmm.
and sit in it and not be like, I'm gonna breathe into and through this and I'm gonna feel fine on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
No, I could say what's coming up for me. I could say, listen, this is annoying the hell out of me right now. Or like, you know what? I feel really off today. Like, just something, you know what? Can you take this? Because I'm not there. And I
Right.
found that as I start to connect with people in that way for myself, now
Mm-hmm.
there's this, I'm experiencing more of this discomfort of like, oh God, like, are they gonna be here after they know I'm quirky?
Right. Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean?
So, your question was pretty brilliant around, is there discomfort in the connection? I think, yeah, there always is some discomfort in deeper connection when we stop
Mm,
performing and people just show up as themselves. There's some, but that's also a place where I thrive in relationships. So what I'm hearing for you is the performance is part of a fear of losing connection if people see you as average or normal. That's
mm-hmm.
the big one for me too, is I I don't, it's not even unconscious. Uh, I had a conversation recently with someone who I care a lot about, and she was like, yo, I don't know, it's not normal for me to be like this, and the other thing. And I looked at her and I said, I don't think I'd even like you if you were normal. You better not fucking call me normal.
Yeah,
Like, I don't want to be
yeah,
labeled as normal. I don't want to be average. I don't want to be put in the kind of the stew with everyone else. There's a part of me that really wants to be extraordinary.
mm,
And let's be honest, we all can be extraordinary, and life feels better when we are at the top of our game and where we're
mm,
sharp and we're clear and we're focused and we're loving and we're powerful and we're patient and we're passionate. When we have all these parts that like make the human capacity amazing,
right,
life is better.
right,
But when we fear that we won't be loved or cared for or connected to or with
right.
when we're not above average, then that's where it becomes now unsafe and it becomes toxic.
Mm-hmm.
So can we hold, right, for you guys, like all people in the world, can we hold that it's a good thing to want to perform and be at our best,
Right.
but we're completely acceptable, lovable, and maybe sometimes more relatable and
Yeah.
more lovable
Yeah.
when we show up with our imperfections? You know, it can run so deep that at times I joke with people, I'm like, I got to be the best at embracing my imperfections.
Yeah.
I got to embrace them most wisely,
Right.
right? Like even that level of, oh, I got to be the biggest and boldest at dropping into my authentic truth.
Yeah.
So I might go from like acting like everything's perfect to like being so raw in your face about it, like right away, because I got to be the best at both extremes, right? So
Mm.
this is when this is interesting, and what I want to do, kind of like the last 5 minutes or so here, is like, what are some ways that you think people in just everyday life, how would I know? Like, this is what I'm going to do is like, if I'm watching this, and how would I know if I'm caught in like performance where I'm always trying to perform or look a certain way? What are some of the things people do like on the daily, you think? Little things.
Little things people do on the daily when
Mm-hmm.
they're caught in a performance.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't like to
Wow.
leave my house in sweatpants, Paul.
Oh, okay.
Straight, unless I'm going to the gym, I don't like to leave my
Yeah.
house in sweatpants.
Okay.
Look,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I
All
look
right.
like I don't care. I look sloppy. I never think, I'm just digging being comfortable.
Right. Yeah. I never go down a ShopRite or a shopping mall aisle without a smile. I want everybody to think I'm happy.
You're always putting on the smile.
Always putting on a smile. Or either to make my people think I'm happy or to help make sure people feel safe. One of the
Mm-hmm.
two.
Mm-hmm.
One of the two. My reality.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah,
Mm.
that's an interesting one because there's oof, man. Yeah, that one's interesting because a lot of things come up for me.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing that's coming up most is, hey, are we comfortable asking ourselves, am I cool being myself today?
Right.
Am I cool being myself today? Because like you said something, yeah, I know we're gonna wrap up and we want to have some of these things, but you said something that I really want people to hear and take in. When we have this language of, okay, I need to be extraordinary,
Mm-hmm.
there's already setting up this, we're implying that we're not already.
Right.
So now we're setting ourselves up for a standard that we already have. We're trying to set ourselves up for a standard outside of ourselves. And I say this because this is something that came up for me. I'm like, wow, I want to be this. I want to be this. And I'm like, wait, I already am. What if just for today, I already am all those things?
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, I get to be myself. And then the next question is, hey, am I cool? Hey, I want to be myself today. And is it saying I want to be myself today, period, or I want to be myself today and accepted?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When I'm saying I want to be myself today and accepted, I'm losing again because I'm setting myself up for the fall again. I'm in that spiritual bypass or whatever bypass. Like, hey, I just want to be myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be myself today.
Right.
Doesn't matter if I'm accepted or not. And that's when the performance can come in, because if that next thing is and be accepted, you're in a performance mode.
Yeah.
I want to be extraordinary. And because that's what happened. Hey, what do you want? I want to be this. And I bet you if you could like get a teleprompter and read what's in their mind, and accepted would be the next two words.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had a coach who, whenever someone says, I don't know how, or I don't know what, because that's not a complete question. Because in your mind, it's really, I don't know how to blank without losing what.
Yeah.
Right. So it's never, I don't know
Yeah.
how. we're infinitely creative. It's like, I don't know how to go do the thing I think I want to do
Right.
without looking stupid, without losing money, without losing time,
Right.
without needing to ask for help.
Mm.
So if we can surface that other piece, that piece at the end,
Yeah.
and the next question is like, well, so if you knew XYZ was protected, then what would you do? Right? That's not always the answer. It's not always the thing to do. But so anyway, that's what that brought up for me. But, I think that's important. Some of these little markers I'd like to surface a little.
Yeah.
If I'm really focused on what's polite, if I'm always going, oh, I don't want to be rude, I'm performing.
When I'm saying I'm sorry a lot, I'm in performance mode.
Right. Yes. When I don't want to be an imposition, when it's like, oh, I know I could go do this thing that would make me feel good, but that might get in the way of what someone else wants. Right? Or it may make them uncomfortable. That's the one I hear a lot. It's like, well, I don't want to make so-and-so uncomfortable. It's like, well, you don't know if it'll make them uncomfortable. You didn't ask if it make them uncomfortable. There's a story that you've been told because you're worried about what they may think if they're uncomfortable. You don't want to be uncomfortable because you don't know what they're thinking. It's really what you're saying. You know what they're feeling. And you're placing what they think and feel higher than what you can have in your life. I do with this one. I always want to be early. Never want to be late or even on time.
Wow,
so there's this.
I'm out of them right now. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shoot, I'm in performance mode when I feel like I gotta perform.
Right.
Like I gotta have an answer.
Right.
Like, no, actually, I don't know.
Right. That's a big one. Do I just keep talking rather than saying I don't know?
Yeah.
Right. Like when.
Or I have to figure that out.
Yeah. Am I avoiding that phrase? Am I avoiding hearing no from people? Do I not ask questions directly because I don't want to hear no?
Right.
Am I like, I know you like Italian, man. You want to get some Italian?
Yeah.
Oh no, you're not doing that today. That's cool. Instead of just asking, be like, I really want some meatballs. Like,
yeah.
Would you come with me?
Yes.
So it's like putting, not wanting to hear no. So you're always conditioning your questions to make it look like, you won't get rejected. It's not what you really want. You're thinking about the other person first. It's this performance.
That's a gem right there, bro.
Right. But then, the other thing would be just simple stuff. Like if you make mistakes, but you don't talk about it, you hide mistakes at all. It's performance. So there's a lot of little things that we do all the time.
Blessings, man.
Yeah.
Another great one today, my man. Another great one. You can check these out. These videos are out on Joe's page on Facebook. They're also out on my page on YouTube. You can get connected. There's a lot of episodes we have out there. So watch this one again, share it, tell your friends about it, and even if you don't do those things, just listen and receive, because there's some gems. When I go back and listen to these, Joe, we got some gems here.
Yeah.
Any last words, Joe, before we wrap up?
Start questioning performance. When you think you have to be perfect, just ask, like, would this person accept me? What would happen if I was late to work today? Let's get into the realness. We don't want to tell people to be irresponsible, but most of us are on the opposite end. If we're listening to this, most of us are like too really tightened up and worried about being perfect all the time. So just start to question that need for perfection and performance, and show up and see what happens.
There it is. All right, Joe, thanks for taking this time, man. I love having this time with you, brother.
Thank you.
We'll talk later, man.
Bye.
Bye.